I'm your host, Kyle Blind, and we're back for NFL Week 4 betting action. Welcome to the Overrated Experience, your Square Bettors betting podcast. If you haven't joined us before, we look at all sports, focus now on the NFL since it's football season, but we look at betting from a Square point of view, meaning that we're at an average bettor. You're on this side just like you are, and we have the same strengths, weaknesses, but we look at it from the perspective. We give you our plays from the perspective of an average bettor just like yourself. Welcome to the Overrated Experience, and join us on X at Overrated, EXPER2. That's Overrated, EXPER2. What you're going to hear in this episode is a quick recap of the Thursday nighter, Seattle beating the Arizona Cardinals, and then we dive into it. We look at all the point spreads in the Sunday and Monday action, and then we look at some over-unders, and we also look at the amazing player props that are out there, and I'll give you 9. That's right, 9 player props that I like, and you can decide that appeals to you or not. But welcome to the ride that is the Overrated Experience. So let's kick it off. Thursday, we had the divisional matchup, the Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks. No James Conner for the Cardinals. And, you know what the result is. You know that the Seahawks won 23-20 last minute, not last minute, but last second field goal to win it. Seattle was comfortably in control, and we looked at, the Cardinal team that, for the most part, struggled to move the ball until the fourth quarter, or late third, early fourth quarter. And how did we do in the bets we talked about earlier this week when we focused on the Thursday night? Well, Jackson Smith-Njigba did not make the over 84.5 mark. Now, if you watch this game, what was surprising that he did not have a single yard in the first half, and then blew up in the second half, about 79 yards, I believe. So, weird scenario there. Can't be targeted, blanketed in the first half, but things opened up in the second half. Didn't necessarily see that coming. But what we did see was a late fourth quarter longest reception over 25.5. It was 30+, and that big third down play by the Seahawks. What stands out about Njigba? This guy's a gamer. He's the real deal. And you don't see him in Seattle. You don't see him at the level of other receivers like a CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson, but he is a star. He's on the verge of being a superstar. And with Lockett out and Metcalf gone, gone and Metcalf gone, he is the man. And you could even see when he reached for that first down to stop the clock when they needed it late in that ball game. He's got the smarts, he's got the skill, and he's got a potty mouth. If you heard as well with the ref mic on, he was called for a hold that took away a touchdown for Seattle, and he shut it up bullshit on the referee gave him a desk there. Did not throw a flag. That's fine. So Seattle's looking pretty good. Sam Darnold had a decent game, and good game calling by the coaches of Seattle there. So they go to 3-1. The Cardinals dropped to 2-2, but I don't know what necessarily they are. What are the Cardinals? I don't know. It seems like every time Kyler Murray drops back, there's not a plan in place. There's not, read one, read two, check down. It seems like it's a complete broken down play every time he drops back. Until they were scrambling to tie this ball game where the clock is ticking. They can't really huddle up. Their time's on their, not on their side. Then they start hitting big plays, right? Quick, big plays. And you wonder where that was for half a football game in the first half, because it wasn't there. So the Cardinals, I think, really got to look at the what angle they're taking in coming to these ball games, because it didn't look good at all. Their offense looked weak. Marvin Harrison Jr., bad, fumble. I think it was called, I can't tell if it's called an interception because he really didn't get a handle of it, but right in his hands, juggles it. Seattle takes it away. Not a good look for Marvin Harrison Jr. He did redeem himself a bit with a big-time one-on-one battle he won in the end zone for the Cardinals touchdown to get this game close. But just he's struggling. He's a early first-round pick, supposed to be a franchise receiver. Not there yet, but I think the jury's still out if he can be that guy. So that was that. As far as the other bets we had on that game, we did have Seattle covering the 1.5, which did the trick on the last-minute field goal. the game to go over, which it was not. It was a point off, unfortunately. Lost it there. Same game parlay. Maybe that's my calling, right? That's my calling. And Jigba, 60-plus yards after having zip in the first half. Seattle to cover 6.5, plus 6.5. And also the game to go for 34.5. So you followed that same game parlay, you got paid out. So you're welcome. All right? So let's do a little more giving, a little more thanking as we dive into this week's action. And here we go. So kicking it off, we have a game in Ireland. We have the Steelers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. So this is going to be a matchup in Ireland. So it's a 9:30 a.m. I don't know what accent I'm switching to there, but this game is on a neutral site. Pittsburgh is the home team, quote unquote. Are they? It doesn't matter. They're in Ireland. This game is 2.5 point favorites are the Minnesota Vikings with Carson Wentz back there. Pittsburgh, obviously, coming off a win in New England. This game has over 40.5. I do think being on the neutral field here is that we're going to get sloppy, a little chaotic matchup, and I think they do go over the 40.5. So I like that a lot, by the way. And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 2.5 point dog. I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still, Carson Wentz blew out the Cincinnati Bengals, but they're not the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have their flaws, have their injuries, but they're smarter, better coached, and will come in ready to go here. And I think knock off the Minnesota Vikings straight up anyway. So moving on to the first 1 o'clock, we have a big juicy matchup. Philadelphia, defending Super Bowl champions, coming off what bettors might call the worst beat in a long time. Where the Rams looked like they were going to cover the 3.5. Not so. Blocked field goal, returned for touchdown. Not good for you sports bettors out there that took the Rams plus 3.5. But they go into Tampa Bay where they could struggle. They haven't dominated Tampa Bay in any sort of fashion at all. So 3.5 points are the Eagles' favorite by. This game's over-under is 44.5. And where do I like it to go? Well, I like it to go over. I like Baker to step up, start chucking some passes down the field. He will not have Mike Evans in the lineup, but he does have Chris Godwin back. So that does help a little bit. And, where do I see this happening is I see the Eagles winning by a field goal. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers covering. And I do see, here's the prop in this game you want to know about, and that is Sterling Shepard. Yeah, Sterling Shepard. Not Nguba, whatever the hell the wide receiver's name is there, the rookie. Not Godwin. It's going to be Sterling Shepard over 33.5 yards receiving. His last 4 games, and the only 4 games, last 3 games, are 80 yards receiving, 34, 39. And with Evans out, you got to think Sterling Shepard's going to be up the depth chart. It's going to be even more of a factor in the offense. So I do like Sterling Shepard to continue success, probably hit the 40s in his receiving yards. And let me take a step back. All right, that previous game in Ireland. And I have Aaron Rodgers over 202 yards passing, 202.5 yards passing. I like the over for Aaron Rodgers to start slinging it in Belfast. If that's where they're playing, I think it is. So Sterling Shepard in the Tampa Bay game, over 33.5. But the Eagles don't cover, but I think they win. But Tampa Bay does cover. That's confusing, I know, how I said that. But that's all you need to know is Tampa Bay will cover, and this game's going to go over 44.5. The survivor pool pick of the week. Is everybody not taking the Buffalo Bills? If not, maybe you're looking at the Chargers, Lions, potentially Patriots, maybe Falcons. I don't know. But the Bills were 16.5 point favorites. Now they are 15.5 point favorites over the New Orleans Saints and absolutely got pasted by the Seattle Seahawks in an ugly matchup. The game was over mid first quarter. What's the Bills' mindset here? Is that are they going to pour it on? Do you see them pouring it on this New Orleans Saints team? I don't know. I see the Bills covering. I only see the Bills covering because I can't depend on the Saints here to do anything. I mean, could they cover? Sure. That's only if the Bills take the foot off the gas. But the Saints suck. Let's just put it out there. Let's put a 4-letter word out there that describes the New Orleans Saints. They suck, and they are already looking forward to the 2026 entry draft where potentially they could find their quarterback of the future because they don't have it now. Spencer Rattler is playing decent, but he ain't the guy. It's not his fault either. This team's a joke. But the Bills get it done, 15.5. I do think it stays under 48.5. So take it what you will there. Most people's survivor pick. Probably you got to really think. Do you want to save the Bills for later? Or guarantee? It's almost like you're guaranteeing your advancement to next week by taking the Bills. There is no scenario where you can see them losing. So you just have to decide, are the Bills worth taking this week, or do I need to put them in my back pocket when everybody else took the Bills that I have it later on in the survivor pool? That's a tough decision. I still got to make it. So wish me luck on what decision I make before tomorrow. Tennessee, Houston, both 0-3 teams. One team, has a franchise quarterback they drafted, or at least they hope. One team thought they did. Now it's C.J. Stroud. Is he the guy? He has not looked like C.J. Stroud, the rookie, the last two, season and a half. They're 0-3, but they are 7.5-point favorites over this Tennessee Titan team that's also struggling. Can you trust the Houston Texans to cover a 7.5-point spread? Their offense has looked absolutely horrible. They look weak. They look like they have nothing, no creativity whatsoever. Could the Tennessee Titans surprise us here and keep it close? I think so. I'm going to take Tennessee to cover this 7.5-point spread. 38.5. This is how well Vegas and the bettors out there, the sharp bettors, think of this potent Houston Texan offense. They got this game at 38.5 as the over-under. I'm going to take the over because I'm a sucker for a low over-under. Sue me. Don't sue me. I really don't want to get sued. But 38.5, I'll take the over. They'll fall into the end zone one way or another. No parlays, no player props on that. Now we get to an interesting matchup. The 3-0 LA Chargers head into the MetLife Stadium to take on the 0-3 New York Giants, now with Jackson Dart, with Russell Wilson on the bench. This should also kind of be an alternative to the Bills as far as your survivor pool pick. Is there a scenario where the Chargers lose here? I don't see it. I see you have a rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart who may show signs of life, but there are going to be a lot of mistakes. There's going to be a lot of situations where he's overwhelmed. Preseason is not, he's okay in preseason, but he's not going to see a preseason type bland defense from this Chargers group. So I think the Chargers get it done. They're 6.5-point favorites. I think they cover easily. This game goes under 43.5. However, on the bright side, when it comes to the Giants, I do think Cam Skattebo, running back for the Giants, who had 120 yards receiving and rushing last week against the Chiefs, will be a focal point, to say the least. I think he'll be even more of a focal point now that Jackson Dart is probably going to panic a little bit, especially early. Check down. Let me get the Ken Skattebo. Mr. Skattebo, here's a pass, out of the flats. Here's a screen pass. Here's the ball. So give me Cam Skattebo over 80.5 yards, minus 114, receiving and rushing. Lock it in, Mr. Skattebo. What a name. Skattebo. And then we got the Atlanta Falcons hosting the Washington Commanders. The Commanders, I got to check this again. They're still 2.5-point favorites. Oh, let me double check that. Let me go to the books. This don't look right at all. Because did I write that down correctly? Because the fact is that this Commander team is without Jaden Daniels again. Marcus Mariota is under center for the Commanders. I got to double check this. I had to write this down wrong. I mean, without Jaden Daniels and McLaurin, wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, he's out. Really? Like the Falcons, I know, pissed away an opportunity to win an easy one. Sorry, I got this backwards. Minus 2.5 by Atlanta. I knew it. So we make corrections live here on the podcast, okay? So the Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. And based on the injuries that I talked about, there is no way I can see this Atlanta Falcon team not showing up on Sunday after getting shut out by the Carolina Panthers, man. The Carolina Panthers got shut out. That's a firing. That could be a firing. That's a firing. You lose to the Panthers, that's a firing. All right? So Atlanta Falcons have no wiggle room to lose this game. They'll take advantage. Marcus Mariota is a decent, solid backup, but he's a backup. That's what he is. He's a backup quarterback. That is it. So they cover the 2.5. Atlanta does. This game goes under 45.5. This is going to be an ugly, grind-out kind of football game. in Georgia for the Falcons. Moving on to interesting matchup if you live in these cities, I guess. But New England is hosting the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are on a 1-game winning streak. +5, though. 5.5, +5.5 dogs are those Panthers. And the Patriots losing last week, 5 turnovers against the Steelers. What do we make of the Patriots being a 5.5-point favorite? Well, it goes against my better judgment, but I'm going to take New England in this one to cover the 5.5. This is going to be a sloppy game. 43.5 over. You got it. Take the over. Take the O. Drake May is going to throw the ball up. He's going to get over that 210 yards. Is it 200 and a half? No, man, is that 200 yards? I think 210 and a half. I got him over 210 and a half. -114. Give me the over, and give me the over on Drake May to cover that passing total. And give me the Patriots to cover that 5.5. Panthers are still shit, regardless on that 1-game winning streak or not. We go into an interesting 4 o'clock matchup here. This is a game that I think is potential. I know we got the Chiefs and Ravens, but I think this is one of the more intriguing matchups that we have, and that is Colts head into LA. Colts are 3.5-point underdogs to those Rams, who came off ugly loss. When I say ugly, meaning that they had this game wrapped up, not only blew a big lead, but also had an opportunity to kick a game-winning field goal. That didn't happen. And the Colts are red hot, 3-0. Didn't expect that. Danny Dimes and Jonathan Taylor, 1-2 punch out of the backfield. Absolutely tearing up defenses, doing a great job. But I don't think it happens here. I think we're going to have a little reality hit Danny Dimes visiting SoFi to take on this Rams team. The Rams team is for real. You know, they're losing against teams like the Eagles, right? They're not going to be losing at home against the Colts. So I like the Rams to cover this 3.5. I like this game to stay under 48.5. And guess what? I like Daniel Jones to throw at least 1 interception. All right, and that's +108. And the fact is that he's going to be stressed. He's going to have stress in his face. He's going to be playing from behind. And Danny Dimes he's a quarterback that still falls into those categories like a Geno Smith that cannot let a play go, cannot let a play die and live for another play or live for another day. Just can't do it. DNA doesn't have it. Danny Dimes is going to, at some point in this ball game, whether it be at the end of the first half, maybe at some point in the second half, he's going to force something that just ain't right. So look for Danny Dimes, +108, 1 interception minimum, maybe 2. But I'm going to go with the 1 in this play. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are 3.5-point favorite. Brock Purdy looks potentially to be back. Mac Jones is going to the bench. The Jaguars are 2-1. The 49ers are 3-0. And this is an interesting matchup, right? Trevor Lawrence, what is he? They're scraping by. They're getting the job done. But the 49ers at home, they're winners. They're gonna come through. Something in Jacksonville's gonna have opportunities that they're gonna choke on. Trevor Lawrence is gonna miss some throws. There's gonna be some controversy some way, somehow, that the Jacksonville Jaguars pissed away opportunities in this ball game. And the 49ers somehow come away with a 4 or more point lead, winning this ball game. So take the 49ers to cover 3.5. This game to stay under 48.5. Against Jacksonville. Sorry, 46.5. Stay under 46.5. Whoa, what the hell's wrong with my note taking here? So 46.5. Take the under. A lot of unders, man. This is like an underwear sponsored by Fruit of Bloom, because this is an underwear type of day here. Unders, you don't think it would come out of my mouth, but yeah, another under. So we have we'll get to the game of the 4 o'clock hour outside of the Colts Rams matchup. We got the Chicago Bears taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Bears looked pretty damn good last week at home against the Cowboys. Offense was gunning. Ben Johnson's new offense. Caleb Williams looked good. Now, somebody made a good point. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to take credit for it. There was no pass rush for the Cowboys on this day, meaning Caleb Williams had no reason to get panicked in the pocket and make bad decisions where he gets in trouble. So this might be an outlier that he was successful. So I'm going to say that the Bears. I'm going to switch. I was going to say Raiders. I'm going to go with Bears covering the +1.5. I don't think the Raiders are going to get that much of a pass rush pressure on Caleb Williams, just like the Cowboys. So I think the Bears will do fine. Vegas is kind of a mess. I don't know what their offense is, right? I don't know what their defense is. Like they're one of those teams that are caught in between. What are they? Pete Carroll comes back. They send a lot of veterans, especially on the defensive side. There's nothing there. Geno Smith is a professional quarterback, but he's not a winner. Like he's not a guy that's going to carry you and take you places that you've never been. So chalk that up to some analytics there. Take the Bears +1.5. This game to stay under 47.5. I do see, missed opportunities on fourth down conversions, pickoffs. Like it's just not going to be red zone like efficiency that you seen, let's say, on Monday night with Baltimore and Detroit. So we have the big one here. We have Baltimore and Kansas City. Kansas City right now, I'm looking at it. So the latest is that actually Baltimore is a 2.5-point favorite over the Ravens. And Kansas City, 1-3. One of these teams is going to be 1-3, right? One of these teams is going to be 1-3. Can you picture in your lifetime, since you've known Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, to be 1-3 to kick off a season? So Baltimore's a 2.5-point favorite. It makes sense to why they're a 2.5-point favorite. I hate to do this, and I hate to bet against Mahomes, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Ravens -2.5. I'm going to take the Ravens. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to take Kansas City and Baltimore to go under 48.5. No props in this one. Game stays under. It's going to be a grind, but the Ravens get it done. Kansas City 1-3. Mark it down. Sunday nighter. Is there anybody looking for revenge in this game? Green Bay visits Dallas. Dallas not in a good spot right now. They got smoked by the Bears. CeeDee Lamb is out. What do they have left? They have no. This defense sucks. This Cowboy defense absolutely sucks. They're terrible. Nothing like every other team puts pressure on a Bears offense except the Cowboys, right? And your only chance in these games was to, win 35 games. Like your offense just there's a little bit more than that other offense, and their offense is not going to be on high gear here without CeeDee Lamb. And you got the fact that you got Lamb out and you got Micah Parsons coming back, the guy who would have given you a presence on the pass rush. This is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome that we got this matchup. Packers do have to redeem themselves after a big loss in Cleveland last week. And keep in mind that loss in Cleveland killed a lot of people in the survivor pools, man. That really didn't do me. I thought Joey Flacco might do something. But to be honest, Joey Flacco, not so, it's not him. And I think that's, so as I said Joe Flacco, I realized I missed the Detroit game. I'll get to that one in a second. So I like the Green Bay Packers to cover 6.5. I don't think you're going to see much out of the Cowboys here. This game to go over 47.5. I got to believe that the Packers are going to try to run up the score, and you'll have the Cowboys in junk time, maybe pop a few in, and then you got Cowboys are dead. They're toast. So let's look at it here. The Cowboys are toast, and I also forget. All right, hold on a second. Let me pause for a second. Let me circle back. In that Bears game, I got Rome Odunze, second-year receiver, to be over 22.5 as his longest reception, -122. He's been in the 30s the last 2 weeks on his longest reception. So just remember that. And then what else do we have? We have, as I'm watching a soccer game that's not going my way, just to let you know, Monday nighters, we got two again. We have the Miami Dolphins hosting the New York Jets. 2.5-point favorites are those Miami Dolphins at home. That's the only reason why they're favored. This game's only going to get attention because it's on Monday night, right? And maybe it's only going to get attention until the Cincinnati-Denver game starts an hour later. But if you're going to watch it and you got to make a pick on it, hard not to take the Dolphins at home. I don't know what the Jets are. I don't know if they're better with Justin Fields coming back. It looks like he's going to play. And is he going to get provide more juice to that offense than Tyrod Taylor did? I don't know. But I know the Jets are not going anywhere. The Dolphins at least looked a little bit credible against the Bills, almost pulled that out, except for the terrible interception by Tua. And speaking of Tua, like, he's all over X. Somebody, I guess, talked about the criticism that Cam Newton or others had of his playing. And he's up there at the podium talking about, let's see somebody else come up here and do what I do and how hard the job is. Somebody's got to get to him, just tell him to shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up, Tuish. Nod your head. It is adding fuel to the fire. If you're obviously getting bugged by people's commentary, and that's what X is. It's like, when people are commenting, they're looking for hot takes. They're looking for you to react. You just are adding fuel to the fire. Why? Why? You don't need the heat, right? You're playing like shit, right? You played decent, I guess. You're playing shitty because you played pretty decent at some points in that game against the Bills, but then fell apart with that poor decision to throw that interception. At your stage in your career, shouldn't be making that mistake at that time. So shut the fuck up. Throw the ball to Tyreek. Get him over the 68.5 yards I have him down as being over for his player prop, and then we'll be fine. Miami Dolphins will win this game, field goal or better. This game will go over 44.5. We'll forget about this game because nobody really wants to watch it. And then we'll move on an hour later into the Cincinnati Bengals Denver Broncos matchup, which is the second Monday nighter of that week 4. I think this spread's a little too high. I think the Broncos being in a 7.5 point favorite at home makes sense if we were looking at this line at the start of the year, knowing that Jake Browning was going to be quarterbacking this team and Joey Burrow was going to be injured. But if you've watched, Bo Nix has been okay. He's been great. He's missed even last week. He missed a critical throw that should have been a touchdown instead of a field goal early in that second half that led to the Chargers being able to come back and win that football game. Bo Nix is not sharp right now. He's not dealing an effective offense that we would expect based on what we saw last year. So he's not pumping on all cylinders. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think they should be in a 7.5 point favorite. I gotta believe that Jake Browning, 2 years ago when Burrow went down, he was solid. He performed well. Right now, he has not performed well at all. I gotta believe it's going to turn around. I have to believe it's going to be at least average play from Jake Browning coming into this game against Denver. He's got too many weapons. Slow down. Give it to Chase. Give it to T. Higgins. Chase Brown's got to step up, man. He's done nothing, running the ball. So I gotta believe that Jake Browning is going to be the guy. It's going to look a lot better on Monday night in Denver. They cover the 7.5. This game goes over 43.5. This spread is just too far. It's too much. And I think Jake Browning goes to the air. 219.5. You're goddamn right I'm going to take the over on that. So take Jake Browning over 219.5 passing yards. Now, let me circle back to a game that I forgot. Big game. Survivor pool. Impacts. And that is the Detroit Lions hosting the 1-2 Cleveland Browns. The Detroit Lions are 9.5 point favorites. This defense in Cleveland's a real deal. They're a problem, but I think they're more of a problem at home than they are the road. I didn't think Baltimore had much of a problem, hosting the Browns. They put up some numbers against this defense, and at some point, when this offense can't roll, and they can't, all right, don't kid yourself. Joey Flacco 2 years ago was moving this offense. He ain't doing it now. Okay, so look for the Detroit Lions to cover this spread of 9.5. Look for this game to go over 44.5 because the Detroit Lions, best offense in football, at least the most entertaining, will not take the foot off the pedal. And look for Jahmyr Gibbs to have a big day, receiving, rushing, combined over 94.5. Some way, somehow, the Lions get the ball in his hand, and he's going to have a few big plays. Dave Montgomery's going to have a day too, but it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs' day, 94.5. So take the Lions to cover, and take Gibbs to go across that 94.5 mark, total yards for rushing, receiving, and this game to go over 44.5. So that's it. That is it today. I've given you wisdom. It's all about how you accept it, embrace it, and take it and use it. This experience has been great for you and great for me. The Overrated Experience is over and out. See ya.